suckers. Excuse me, taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
Former Governor David Paterson joins us. I've been anxious to talk to him about the rise of socialism and what his Democrat Party is going to do about it. Hello, Governor. Welcome back. Are you still a Democrat, technically?
Yes, I am.
Have you thought about, I don't know, maybe blowing off that party? Because it's, I know you pretty well. You're not crazy like a lot of these crazy people in that party.
Well, I'm, with a number of other Democrats, and we've started to quietly meet at places. We're trying to keep the whole credo of the Democratic Party alive. And it's hard to do that when you see some of the results like you did last Tuesday. It may not be quite as bad as some are fearing, because primaries are really difficult to analyze in a lot of ways. So, for instance, in the 12th congressional district where Adriano Espaillat was beaten, the woman who beat him got 32,000 votes. Now, there are 700,000 people that live in that district. So her 32,000 votes constituted 5% of the people that live there. What it meant to me is what happens in a lot of primaries, where people just kind of fall asleep or they just don't think about it that much. And I think Espaillat didn't think about it that much. That's how he got beaten. But I do think it's a wake-up call, and I just hope that all my colleagues are waking up.
Okay, let's talk about your hope that they're waking up, because the indication, as I see it, is that the colleagues, and I don't know who specifically, so I'm going to leave your colleagues out of this, but mainstream Democrat office holders right now, and quite frankly, I don't know what mainstream means in the Democrat Party. When you find yourself advocating for drag time story hour for children and paying public money to make that happen, the Democrat Party is a little bit in a weird place right now. And Chris Von Hollen, the senator from Maryland, just endorsed one of these maniacs up in Michigan. So, I mean, the Democrat Party you're talking to, is it that Democrat Party or a smaller sliver of, you know what I mean about Democrats in general, sir?
Well, when you have a primary, you are very likely to get people who are somewhat on the extreme in a lot of places, and it's happened to some Republicans this year. But the reality is that in this case, the one that we're going through right now, it really was a manifestation of a lot of money that was put in by the Socialist, a lot of condemnation of the people who were already in office, some incredibly vile things being said about the Democrats who were still there. And that is the type of thing that can really ruin the party or any party for, if that type of thing is going on. And I think that some of us, who were leaders in the party and still care about the party are going to have to, get off the beach this summer and come out and start talking to people in the districts, because this could end in a real bad way. I do not think that the Socialists, no matter how many Democrats they beat, are going to dislodge anything from Republicans. I think the message over there is a lot clearer, and they won't get that far. But, in our society, we seem to do better when we have two parties rivaling each other. And I remember in 1968 when Hubert Humphrey lost to President Nixon, I thought the world was going to come to an end. But Nixon turned out to be a very good president for the time that he was there. And we've got to get back to that kind of situation. And right now I'm hoping is just, as has happened in the past, where you just have a few years of a lack of accountability, and then finally people of sound mind start to retake the authority in the party.
Hubert Humphrey, you don't hear that name. Yeah, 1968. He cried like a baby when he lost right into Nixon's shoulders.
It was amazing just watching that, and that was really something.
I want you to listen to this. This is Scott Wiener or maybe he pronounces it Weiner. He is a state senator or something in California.
A Weiner.
Weiner. Yeah, it's like a thing. I understand Weiner. You would want to go with Weiner, but this guy, let's call him Scott Weiner for the hell of it. He's in California. He's about to take Nancy Pelosi's seat, right? He's the anointed one. And the guy is, trans this, LGBTQ that. And I mean, he's like radical in that regard, but not radical enough for San Francisco. Listen to how he was treated at a gay pride event over the weekend. Cut 10, please. Cut 10. No. I'm sorry. Wait, make that 11. Cut 11.
Scott, I think your legislation on trans issues and your legislation specifically protecting queers on the sex offender registry is fantastic. Like, I really applaud you for that, and I think you deserve to be here for that. But I think your housing policy on the genocide in Gaza, and I think your policy on the genocide in Gaza is terrible. Wonderful. You've been wonderful for trans people, and you've been terrible. And you've been terrible. You've been terrible. You've been terrible.
All right, stop. So something interesting. That's like the third time I've listened to it, and I noticed that the guy starts off normal, and I think he's planning on staying normal. But then the mob shows up, they realize who's there, and then the guy who started normal goes insane, right? I feel like that's the Democrat Party right there. They want to be normal, but the grassroots, if you will, the primary people, and I know they can be the most active, but they're the loudest, and I think they're the most they intimidate the mainstream, and then everybody's going nuts in that party. That's how I feel it's going. When
you first started the tape, I thought, well, what's the big deal? He likes this guy, he's gay, and he, has these other things. And you're right, it appeared that as the crowd recognized who he was, and apparently at that event they would not like him, they just became outrageous, and then he lost it, and he became even louder than the people who were screaming with him. And see, one of the problems, it almost sounded like the kind of conduct you hear at a sporting event. Like, the candidate struck out 2 times and everybody's going to boo him. But for the most part, he doesn't even say who he would replace him with.
So this is I think this is a microcosm for what's happening to the Democrat Party. The loudest and ugliest voices are prevailing. You see Hakeem Jeffries, they're coming for him, and you can do a lot of damage. I understand what you're saying about a primary, and you can, but I feel like that's the direction of the overall, because people like Schumer and others, they're afraid of these loudmouths. They're afraid of them. And that's the difference, because no one's condemning them. No one's putting them down. If you look carefully, no one is doing that. And I think you would be hearing more of that if, like you said earlier, they were going to try to have cooler minds and everything was going to be normal. And there's no more normal. Does that change your opinion?
Well, that one tape doesn't change my opinion, but it is an example of how bad things could actually get if they're not addressed. And, part of public service is taking a stand, whether you win or you lose, whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you have issues that you champion, you should take a stand. And I'm not saying that too many people, this particular primary, I think, was really antithetical to what usually happens, but it did come at a time when the adversaries, who are the Socialists, were marshaling forces far beyond what the Democratic Party could match. at that particular time. So, but it's not just a question of money. It's really a question of pride. And really, if you're running to let the people in your constituency know that you want to be helpful to them, then you can't back down when somebody else comes and says, oh, but, forget about him. We're going to give you a minimum wage of $50 an hour.
Yeah.
That kind of antic really disrupts the whole process.